will discuss about the various data entry guidelines in HCI. So we'll start with the concept of data entry. It refers to the user actions which involves the input data given by the user to the system. Also, it includes the system responses when that particular user input is given. The simplest kind of data entry will include merely pointing at certain information or selecting any particular atom or designating a position on a computer generated display. When we are considering the complex modes of data entry, it will consider the user having control over the format of data entry as well as their contents. After the concept of data entry, we will shift our focus on designing the various data entry functions. For that, we should start with the discussion about the set of general objectives. It starts with the establishment of consistency amongst the various data entry transactions. Your various data entry transactions should be consistent. Then you should minimize the input actions and the minimization of memory load on the user side. Also, you have to ensure the compatibility of the data entry with the data display alongside. And you should not forget to provide the flexibility of user control while doing the data entry. So all these objectives you have to keep in mind when you are designing the data entry functions. Now we will discuss the preservation of context in terms of design. So first of all, we have to consider the importance of all aspects which are related to the user system interaction. Also, we have to consider the various implications which are related to the data display. We have to consider the sequence controls and the user guidance along with the data entry. The next important design concept we should keep in mind is flexibility. The interface should be able to adapt the flexibility as per the user needs. There should be certain specific means for achieving the flexibility, and we should keep in pace with the inputs which will be controlled for the flexibility by the user. Also, your task should be in pace with the user inputs, and the machine should not be considered for the stressful environment, and it should not be error prone. We have to consider the various data entry guidelines. So now we will discuss these guidelines one by one. We'll start with the first one, data entered only once. So remember, the user should only need to enter any particular information only once. He should not be asked to enter the information again and again. The system will access this information if it's needed for any particular task or for the various related tasks. Now, the second guideline will be entry via primary display. Means whenever the data entry is done, then it should be done as the important part of user's task, and the entered data should appear on the user's primary display at the first. The next guideline is feedback during data entry. Whenever we are considering the information to be entered by the user, we should display the feedback for all the user actions during that particular data entry, and we should display the various key entries stroke by stroke. The next guideline is fast response. We must assure that the system will provide acknowledgement for the various data points in a rapid manner. So user should not slow down or should not have the low pace, and should avoid the delays while giving the responses. For the normal operations, we are considering the delayed feedback, and that delay should not exceed zero point 0.2 seconds. Next guideline will be simple method for entering the data or information. The design of data entry transactions and associated displays should be done in such a way that it should appear as the single method for the data entry, and user should stay with one method of data entry and should not shift to another one. Next important point of guideline is defined display areas for data entry. So whenever we are doing the data entry, it should be done on an electronic display only in specific areas or environments only, and we should provide the clear visual definition for the entry fields. Next important guideline is consistent method for data change. Whenever we are considering the key data entry, we have to keep certain points in our mind. So you should always allow users to change the previous entries if it is necessary by performing the delete operation and performing certain insert actions. If the data changes, so the change should be made directly by considering the character substitution type over, and this option should be readily available, consistently available for the user. For discussing the various data entry guidelines, I have referred this particular link as reference. Thank you all. Just now we have discussed the various set of data entry guidelines and its importance as per the user's perspective. Now it's time for the question. I want to ask the question related to the data entry guidelines which we have just now discussed. Which one according to you is of utmost importance amongst the all, and why? It's my kind request to you all to write down your own perspective in the chat box regarding the question.